This is Johnny Dosco. Stay tuned for another Scoresheet podcast. Holy Kadelka!
Hello, and welcome to a Scoresheet podcast dedicated to hockey this week. I'd like to remind you the first thing is there is another free agent draft next week, week 9 of the season. We last year started doing free agent drafts every third week of the season. So next week is week 9. That means that the latest chart you have sent in by Monday afternoon, November 28th, is the chart that will be used for the week 9 games and also for the free agent draft. So make sure if you send in a new chart for week 9, you include your free agent wanted list in that window on the depth chart form. I'd also like to remind everyone about the special scoring rules on our lines in our Scoresheet hockey game. I think you all know this, but as a reminder, the players on your first line get 100% of their point totals, but the players on the second line only get 80%. So for instance, if they score a goal that would normally be worth 1 point, if they're on your second line, they only get 0.8 of a point. On the third line, they get 0.6 of a point, 60% of the full value. So unlike most fantasy games, if you're listing 3 starting centers, it actually matters quite a bit which one you list first, second, and third. So don't forget that whoever you think is going to score the most points next week, you put them as your first player at that position. And then if somebody has to sit out a game, the players below them will automatically move up. So if you list a player as your first line center and he has to sit out a game, your second line center will become the first line, third line moves up to second line, so on and so forth. So you don't need to consider really how many games they're going to play in the NHL next week. The most important thing for a hockey game is how many Scoresheet points they're going to score per game played. And then that's who you should put on your first line. Another thing is trades. You know, sometimes people, when they have a hole, they think, oh, I'll pick up a free agent to fill that hole. Well, one of the reasons we switched starting last year to having free agent drafts every 3 weeks is so that there would actually be some worthwhile players available as a free agent. It used to be in years past that after about the 5th or 6th week of the season, there was almost never anybody worth drafting. But even so, the number of free agents that are really going to help fill a big hole is pretty slim. So you might explore trading. And then when you're looking to make a trade or looking to pick up a free agent, don't forget about the fact some people have missed games this year and their total points may be rather low. So they're showing up low down on the lists or low down on the rosters. For instance, in an extreme case, Sidney Crosby just came back a couple days ago. So even though he's one of the top 2 or 3 players in the league, his number of points for this year is very low. Now obviously nobody's overlooking Sidney Crosby. But there are plenty of other players like that maybe missed a couple, 3 weeks already this season due to injury. Their total number of points are low, but going forward, they're still very valuable players. So you might look at their points per games played rather than their total points. It is nice to have hockey going, don't you think? Compared to the NBA, where who knows if they're going to have any season at all, or at best they're going to have a shortened season. At least we have hockey. And with the onset of winter here, it even feels like hockey season in California. We hope you're having a good time. We hope you have a great holiday weekend. And best of luck to your team. Thanks for listening.